Hey students, if you're interested in developing with the Java programming language, the first thing that you'll want to do is download and install the Java Development Kit, affectionately known to us programmers as the JDK. The JDK includes the Java C application for compiling your code and the Java runtime environment for executing your program in a Java virtual machine. If you watch this video in its entirety, you will be able to download the JDK, install the JDK on a Windows machine, configure the path environment variable on a Windows machine, and create the Java home environment variable. After completing these steps, you will be able to start writing Java programs with a text editor. This video is also the right place to start if you want to install an Integrated Development Environment, or IDE. If you are not familiar with an IDE, this is simply an application that contains the tools for simplifying development and troubleshooting. I'll provide links in the description below for installing two popular IDEs, NetBeans and Eclipse. As a word of warning, using an IDE has a greater learning curve than a simple text editor, but the payoff is huge. If you really want to start becoming a developer, you've got to use an IDE. Well, we've got a lot to get through, so let's get started. To begin programming in Java, we need to do a few things first. For starters, we'll need to download the Java Development Kit from the internet. Next, we'll need to install the JDK. Then we'll need to configure the path and the Java home environment variables on our machine. Lastly, we'll need to test. So let's begin by downloading and installing the JDK. We'll start by opening a browser window. I'll type the name of the website that I want to visit. That's jdk.java.net. I'll press enter, and the web page JDK Builds from Oracle opens. You'll notice that the Ready for Use lists the newest approved versions of the JDK, and Early Access provides beta versions of the software. Let's go for the Ready for Use JDK 18. I'll click the link. Then under Builds, I'll select the Windows x64 zip file. I'll click the link to begin the download. When the download is complete, I'll click the up arrow and select Show in Folder. Next, I'll go to the zipped file, right-click the file, and select Extract All. I'm going to click the Browse button to select a new folder for placing the extracted files. I'll choose my local disk C, and I'll go into Program Files. I'm going to create a new folder. I'll click Continue to confirm the operation, and I'll type the name Open JDK. I'll press Enter and click Select Folder. I'll check to make sure that Show Extracted Files when complete is selected, then I'll click Extract. If a dialog box appears asking to provide administrator permissions, I'll click Continue. It may take a couple of minutes for the install to complete, but you should now see the JDK installed in the C drive Program Files Open JDK folder. If I open the JDK folder, you'll notice that there is a directory called bin. I can open bin, and here I can find the application files like the Java interpreter and the Java runtime environment. I'll scroll down, and you'll notice here is the Java compiler, and here is the Java interpreter. Before moving to the next step, I'm going to click over here to the right-hand side, and you'll notice that the path of the folder that I'm in displays with the text highlighted. I'm going to copy this text by moving over top of it, right-clicking, and choosing Copy. I'll need this path for a future step. I'll click the Minimize button, and I'll close the Downloads folder. Lastly, I'll close my browser. To demonstrate the importance of the path, I'll click in the search box and type CMD to open a command prompt. If I want to run the Java compiler, I can type Java C, and let's say I just want to see the version of the Java compiler. I'll type dash and version. When I press enter, you'll notice that it says Java C is not recognized. The reason for this is that I am currently in the C:\users\PCQ folder. My operating system will find Java C if I'm in the correct directory. So I'll type cd, a space, and then I'll paste the directory that we had copied a couple minutes ago. I'll press enter, and the current directory changes. Next, I'll repeat typing Java C-version. In the command prompt, to repeat a previous command, I can press the up arrow, and each time I press the up arrow, it will go to the previous command. With Java C-version appearing, I can press enter, and you'll notice that Java C version 18.0.1.1 displays. Repeatedly changing directories and using absolute paths can be tedious when working in a command line environment and problematic when using an IDE. Instead, we can add a directory to the path to help the operating system find an application. The path is a variable that stores a list of directories that the operating system will search in an attempt to find an application. If we add our JDK bin directory to the path and type Java C, the operating system, which is Windows in our case, will search through the list of directories in the path from the first directory to the last directory. When the JDK bin directory is reached, the program will execute. Here we have Java C at the end of the directory list. If Java C were located somewhere further up in the list, when the JDK bin directory is reached, the program would execute and the rest of the directories would be ignored. To configure the path, I'll go to the search box and type envir. You'll notice that we have an option for editing the system environment variables that I'll click on. Then I'll click Environment Variables. I'll click Path, then I'll click the Edit button. And you'll notice a list of directories appears that have been added to the path. I'm going to select the New button, and a new line appears at the very bottom. I can type Ctrl-V and paste the JDK bin directory. I'll press Enter, and the bin directory now gets added to the path variable. You'll notice I can also move this directory up or down in the list. Its location here is fine, so I'll click OK. And I'm going to add one more thing to the system variables. I'm going to click New, and I'm going to create a variable named Java underscore home. In the variable value, I'm going to click and paste the JDK bin directory. Only I don't want the word bin, so I'm going to press the backspace key a couple times to remove it. By doing this, I've created a variable called Java Home, and I've assigned the directory path to the JDK directory for Java Home. I do this because some applications require that the Java Home environment variable exists and that it point to the JDK. I'll click OK, and I'll click OK again. One last time I'll click OK to close the system properties. And we've now set the path and the Java Home environment variable. We can check our work by going to the command prompt again. And now I can type Java C -version. Press enter. And you'll notice this time I didn't need to change directories to go to the JDK folder. If I bring up my other command prompt, and position them side by side, you can see before the Java compiler was not recognized when I was in the C users PCQ folder. After adding the JDK bin directory, you'll notice that now I don't have to change directories. The operating system simply goes through all of the directories in the path and it finds the JDK bin directory. Also realize that at this point, I could go to any directory on my machine, type Java C --version, and the version of the Java compiler would display. There's one more thing that I wanted to mention. It's always important to open a new command prompt window after modifying the path. You'll notice if I go here, and I try to see what the path variable stores, you'll notice the JDK is not listed. If I go to the window that I opened after modifying the path, and I type echo path, you can see the Open JDK, JDK18 bin directory can be found. Since we can type Java C version and find the current version of our Java compiler listed in the path, we know that we've properly installed the JDK and also properly configured our path variable. In this video, we learned about the Java Development Kit. We downloaded and installed the software, configured our path variable, created a Java Home environment variable, and tested our program. At this point, we can begin creating Java programs with a text editor and our command prompt. Or we could download and install an IDE to simplify the development process. Again, please check out my videos on installing an IDE in the description below. That's all for now. I hope you found this information valuable and enlightening.